I've had multiple long-term relationships. I've been single for a long time. I've done casual dating. I've done flings. I've done literally everything under the book when it comes to romantic relationships. And with that being said, because of that, I believe I have a unique perspective when it comes to the pros and cons of being single versus being in a relationship. Now, before I get started with this video and sort of give you what I think you guys should do remember that everything's gonna stem from my own experience, and at the end of the day, you gotta do what's best for you. However, you'll see at the end of the video that I do believe that it's very important for guys to sort of dive in both. But without further ado, I'm gonna give you a list of pros and cons for each. Now, starting off first, let's go with the single life. Statistically, at least 70% of you right now are probably single. And so without a doubt, you probably already know the pros and cons of being single. But when it comes to my perspective of it, we got to think about what type of single guy are you? And so we have the serial dater, we have the one at a time sort of guy, and then we have the no play sort of guy, and then the guy who's just purely locked in. He's not even worried about dating whatsoever. Now me, when I was single, I was a serial dater. I was casual dating. I was going on at least 2, 3, 4 dates a week. And that's really where I gained most of my experience with women. And, in hindsight, though it was a lot, it was definitely super insightful. And then honestly, I don't regret anything whatsoever. Now, keep in mind, when I say that I was a serial dater, understand that I will be coming from that perspective. If you're locked in, you're not worried about dating, obviously the single life is gonna be a lot different for you. But for me, the single life was not like that whatsoever. So the first pro is simply from the fact that you are more likely to have and partake in fun and new experiences. Not gonna lie, the single life is purely just fun. It's a lot of dopamine spiking, a lot of new personalities, a lot of new events, a lot of new connections. Because think about it, when you're in a relationship, what are you doing? You're spending time with one particular person, usually doing the same things. And I personally found that during the single life, I always had a story to tell. I could tell them for days. And if you're on my Patreon, you probably have heard a handful of them, but just know, it's just purely fun. It is truly fun. And that's from my perspective. If you don't find new personalities, new experiences, talking to new women fun, then obviously that's not gonna be fun for you. But we can't deny that you're more likely to have a good time when you're single versus than not. Now, a huge pro is from the fact that you gain so much experience about what you like and what you don't like in women. So in my coaching program, Digital Romeo, what I always see in terms of guys coming into the program is that they just got out of a relationship. And I always ask them this question: how long were you dating her? And was she your first girlfriend? And more times than not, it's always, yeah, she was my first, second girlfriend. We dated for 5 years, 6 years. And in my head, I'm like, this guy has no idea how dating works whatsoever. This guy doesn't even know what he likes in a woman. And you'll tend to find this type of guy, he locks down the first girl who sort of gives him attention. He locks down the first girl to where he feels any sort of connection with. And yeah, I was that guy too. My past relationships when I was in college and a little bit after that, the first woman who I was attracted to, I tried to lock her down, or I tried to make something out of it. And it always worked out in my favor. But whenever I removed that relationship mindset and I started going in dating from a perspective of, I'm gonna let her prove herself to me, and I'm gonna see what I like and what I don't like, it really gave me a newfound perspective of what I truly like and don't like. And if I was always getting into relationships, I truly would have never figured that out. I'm now so clear on what I want in a woman, I can literally list it out to you, fact by fact. But if you would have asked me in 2019 or 2018, I just would have told you what I thought I would have liked. Now, the next pro of the single life is that you gain a hyper awareness of your dating value and your social skills from the aspects of strengths and weaknesses. Most guys have no idea what their dating value is until they get single. You got that one girl you dated for a few years, and then you're in the single world and you're like, damn, nobody's paying attention to me. Wait, let me look at myself in the mirror. Am I ugly? Do I need to work on my eyebrows, work on my fitness, work on my social skills, my confidence? Right? Most guys never gain a hyper awareness of that up until they get to the point where they are single. And so that's why we see a lot of guys, whenever they are single, really take self-improvement seriously. And that's another huge pro, is the fact that guys are just more likely to take action towards their self-development goals whenever they are single. And guys will deny all they want, but almost every action in terms of self-improvement, making money, making ourselves more attractive at a very deep subconscious level is from the underlying fact that you want to attract a high quality woman one day. It's the truth. You can deny it all you want, but biologically, that is the sole truth. And even when guys get into relationships, what do? They get comfortable. We see it all the time, right? Now, going back to my story, whenever I had that time frame where I was single, casually dating, that's when I purely improved the most. Not only was I making the most money ever at that time, but also that's when I physically improved the most at that time, because I just simply gained a hyper awareness of my dating value. Now, if you're new here, you never heard of dating value, it really means your sexual market value. You probably have heard that too. Now, objectively, this usually comprises a score out of 10. Now, if you're an average guy, most guys usually tend to be anywhere from a 3 to 5, but you actually start noticing crazy dating results once you hit about a 7, 8, and 9. And I truly believe if guys actually take the action, they can improve their sexual market value by 1 or 2 points naturally and within 6 months. Now, you probably have no idea what your sexual market value is. However, if you don't, check out the link below to my Austin AI coaching. This is the best self-improvement platform there is, because not only do we have different features such as a face analyzer that will give you an objective rating alongside would tell you what you need to work on, but also we have our deep SMV analysis on there that is absolutely free for you to try. And this is all done on Telegram. So all you gotta do is click the link and then click the SMV option, and then within 3 minutes you're going to get your score absolutely free. If you don't know it, I encourage you to try it out. Just click the link down below. You're going to thank me later. Let's talk about some of the cons of the single life. And I'm not going to lie, this was a little bit difficult for me to think through. I'm like, man, what are the cons of being single? I'm not gonna lie, like being single is great. It's truly amazing once you have the perspective that I have with it, right? First con I thought about is perhaps companionship. Whenever you're single, sure, you might have these shallow relationships, but there might be a lack of companionship in there. Now with me, I approached the single life totally differently. I was able to have companionship alongside with the freedom of doing whatever I want, but a lot of guys don't have that skill set. And so you might find that, hey, you're a little lonely, or, you know, so-and-so isn't picking up, so-and-so isn't picking up, you're having a night by yourself, brother. So I do believe though, that's actually a superpower at the same time, because most guys should learn how to be by themselves, how to actually enjoy their own company, enjoy their own time without the need of a sense of companionship. If you really need companionship, just get a pet, in my opinion. However, it can definitely be a con. Now also, from the serial dater perspective, I cannot forget that getting caught up is definitely a con. If you're dating multiple women, which if you're single, you likely are, hopefully, you might get caught up, and that will induce a layer of stress that might go against your goals and your willpower and your work ethic and just overall your brain power when it comes to accomplishing tasks outside of dating. You know, cleaning up hair, trying to look around whenever you're out with one girl, you don't want to run into the other girl you went on a date with. It just brings an unnecessary layer of stress. Now, if you're like me, you truly just don't care. Like, it is what it is. I'm single, I can do whatever I want. However, I've seen and have helped guys sort of navigate this layer of stress whenever they are single. And some guys, they truly can't manage it, nor do they want to. That's why they only end up seeing and talking to one woman. And I cannot forget, third con, absolutely a huge con of the single life, and this is purely time spent sourcing. Listen, I have a full framework when it comes to attracting women, especially through online dating. You know, I'll talk about my dating funnel. You know, I literally do this for a living. I coach guys and help them with this framework. And prospecting women is a part-time job, not gonna lie. If you wanna do anything minimum 2-3 days a week, you're probably gonna be texting 2-3 hours a day, just on prospecting alone. Because keep in mind, and when you are single, you'll realize this, how flaky women are, how fickle women are, how many leads you'll have to source and go through. You know, you have 2 dates scheduled, both of them flaked on you. Now you gotta go back to the texting game. Now, once again, pros and cons to every side. Because you're texting so much, you actually get really good at texting and through social skills and communication. However, it can definitely be a huge time waste. And not only that, but even just going out on dates in itself, all the first dates you'll go on that never lead anywhere, all the second dates you go on that frankly never lead anywhere. And it's gonna happen a lot. You can bet that it definitely will. So if you're willing to sacrifice that time for the benefit you're gonna gain, or if you just have the time, then it's not an issue. However, for busy guys, you might find this as a huge con. So basically the conclusion when it comes to the single life, I found that it is more fun. However, it is less fulfilling. Now, fulfilling is subjective depending on how you look at it. However, for the most part, most guys would agree that it is fun. However, it just doesn't really complete that void they feel in their soul, unless they're going out, they're a baller single guy, you know, Dan Blazerian, spending a lot of money, a lot of women sort of lifestyle. Even that, after a while, it does get old. Even the player wants a girlfriend after a while. Even Dan Blazerian, he ended up getting into a relationship and sort of throwing that crazy party life, rock star lifestyle life away. So more than likely it will be a phase. For some guys, it's a longer phase than others. However, those are the pros and cons. But now let's talk about relationships. Now, like I said, I've been in a handful of long-term relationships, each one lasting above 2 years. So I'm not one of these guys where I talk only about dating from a single guy's perspective, because I've seen what it's like to actually have one woman and be with her for a long period of time. And not only just one woman, but I've been in multiple long-term relationships, like I said. So the first pro is simply the fact that you just have more focus towards your goals. Because you have no distractions whatsoever when it comes to other women, you just have that one you're focused on. That allows you to free up time to then put that time into things you want to accomplish. As simple as that. You know, it's sort of like a layer of stress just gets lifted above your head. And if you use that time wisely, you can actually accomplish a lot. Now, I remember when I was building my business and my YouTube channels and all this stuff, it was like 2018, 2017. That's when I remember I was single, but then I told myself, I was like, I want a girlfriend so that I can just focus on my business and I don't have to worry about this area in my life. And so actually I ended up getting a girlfriend, and that's when I think truly I made the most progress in terms of my business and my focus. And I truly believe it was because I just sort of exited out that, you know, the sourcing and all that stuff, and I had complete focus towards my goals. It's the truth. Now, the other pro is that you can actually turn your woman into an asset. Now, that might sound bad, but it's actually not. An asset is something that produces us value. And so any girlfriend I ever had, guess what? They were filming for me behind the scenes. They were taking pictures of me. I had a protein business back in the day. White label protein business. Some of you guys may remember it was called the Sauce Whey protein. And I was shipping these proteins out of my house. But guess who was doing it for me? My girlfriend at the time. I remember that first day we signed all the protein boxes. She helped me ship them out. Someday she would ship it out for me. She would box them. And I didn't pay her whatsoever. She was literally a free employee. And so if you quote unquote train your woman right, she can definitely be an asset to your business, to your life, and overall just help you and bring value to you. Now, this is really contingent on the woman that you choose. If you end up picking a woman who takes away, doesn't bring value, just expects and just takes, then obviously that is not an asset, that is in fact a liability, and you need to get rid of that woman as soon as possible. However, if you do vet the right woman, you can surely turn her into an asset that will 2x your productivity and overall just help you with your workload. Now, right here, I also mentioned family. So if you are a guy, late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, and you wanna start a family, obviously, the best way to approach that is through having a girlfriend and maybe even a wife if you believe in marriage, perhaps. Not the best to have a baby or a family with a woman who you've seen for 2 weeks or a day even. Y'all think it's weird, but it actually happens. People be having kids after 2 weeks of knowing each other. Wrap it up, man, wrap it up. That's all I can say. Now, those relationships obviously never last long term, but truly feel bad for the kid. Being born in a situation like that, broken family, parents aren't together, and the dad is usually a deadbeat in the scenario too. So if you do want a family, obviously seeking out, vetting the right woman and getting into a relationship will be the best option for that. And last pro, guys, consistent everything. Once again, an asset. You got consistent bedroom fun or business meetings, as I like to say. You got consistent cooking, consistent cleaning. Like, she's an asset to your life. And because of that, it sort of helps the workload in those other areas like laundry and, you know, I'm not sure about you, but the girls I had, they did my laundry, they cooked for me, they really helped me out. And it's not something that I had to force them to do. Some of you guys are thinking, damn, my girl, she don't help me with shit. Can you please do my laundry? And can you cook dinner one day? Like, nah. I think you should get a woman who already instinctively knows that she should do some of these things. And if she does, it makes life so much easier. Now, with every pro, there is a con, and we got to get to the cons. Stick with me here. I know you don't want to hear these cons, but I'm gonna tell you, first one, managing a relationship can almost feel like a part-time job also. Now, it's not as bad as the single life with all the prospecting first dates, but because you're dealing with one person, I find that I have to sort of manage her emotions, give her reassurance, dates. It's like a delicate flower that you have to treat, give water to. I don't want to compare a woman to a child, but in some ways, as a man, from a masculine essence, it feels like you really have to take care of her emotionally, physically, feed her, maybe give her gifts, give her words of validation. She gets angry at you, you gotta calm her down. So depending on the woman you get, sometimes it could feel like a part-time job, but that shouldn't be the case most of the time. That should only be sometimes. If you feel like that's the case a lot of the time, there's probably a chance that you shouldn't be with that woman. Now, another con is from the fact that because you're dealing with one person and you're so emotionally invested in that person, they now have a lot of control over your emotions. You can wake up feeling amazing, feeling great, happy, and then she says something or she pisses you off for whatever reason, and now your whole day is ruined. Versus when you're single, I could care less. Cool, on to the next, bye-bye. But with a girl who you've been seeing 2-3 years, it's not as easy to just walk away, or nor do you want to enact in impulsive behavior like that. So you kind of got to deal with the angry emotions as they come along, you know, and sometimes it can literally ruin your whole day, and that can affect your input or your actions towards whatever you're trying to do. But that's where you got to learn intuitively how to manage stress, how to manage your emotions, how to not go off and be super angry, how to, you know, construct debates or arguments in a meaningful way and not just go off on each other and start hitting each other, none of that stuff. And this inevitably happens in almost every relationship. I've met beautiful, perfect on the surface and internally girls where we still argued, we still had debates, we still had a lot of disagreements. However, if I let those affect my emotions on a daily basis, weekly basis, best believe I would not be as productive as what I am now. Now, the last concept I have here is from the fact that it's just less freedom. You know, some guys might look at that as a pro because it allows them to have more focus once again. However, when you have to text somebody where you're going, what you're doing, when somebody's questioning you, why you came in late, why you're doing this, you know, it's just, as a guy who values his freedom, it gets a little annoying how you have to check in or have to, you know, have that layer of respect that every relationship should have. You know, so that makes sense, but do understand it comes with less freedom. That guy's trip to Colombia, probably not on the books for you. It's for me. I have leverage. But for you, most of you guys, if you tell your girl like, hey, I'm going on a guy's trip to Colombia, she's gonna look at you like you're crazy and probably be like, no, you're not. No, you're not, buddy. Or any guy trip for that matter. But likewise with her, girl trips, I'm not gonna even get started on that. You gotta go to the other channel for that one. And then also, just sexual predictability. After a while, depending on how many women you've been with in your life, you might find it pretty difficult to be sexually satisfied with one woman for years on end. Assuming you also do not watch porn, by the way. If you watch porn, you're essentially getting off to other women just digitally. However, no porn, seeing one girl 5+ years, a lot of guys can't do it. You know, another debate, are humans really monogamous? Are guys actually monogamous, or do they force monogamy? I'm not gonna start that debate in this video, but do understand, if you are a guy who has been with a lot of women, maybe when you were single, sort of shifting into that just one woman phase can be hard mentally and can be hard for you sexually, just because you're so used to the variability and the dopamine spikes of seeing a new woman and having new sexual experiences. It's the truth. So overall with relationships, it's more fulfilling, but it's less fun. It can be fun, but usually it's less fun. And that's because you don't have as many dopamine spikes as you would whenever you are single. Sure, you can travel with your person, you guys can have new experiences together, but just not in the same way in which you are single. And so, big question, what should you do? I'm gonna tell you what I believe most guys should do, and that is, I think every guy between the ages of 18 and 25 should spend at least 2 years single. Now, within that 2-year time frame, you're gonna experience all the pros. You're gonna see what you like, what you don't like, you're gonna have a good time, you're gonna have fun, you're gonna sort of get that phase and understand what it's really like to even be alone and deal with quote unquote female nature. And truth is, being single changed my life, so I'm sure it can also change yours. And then as you're casually dating, if the right woman comes along, in which you will know when the right woman comes along, that's when you can explore the idea of a relationship. And that's exactly what I've done. And that's how I continue to go about my dating life now. That's what I do. And so once again, those are the pros and cons. Let me know what you think down below though. I wanna hear your perspective. And don't forget to check out AI Austin Coaching down below if you wanna check out your SMV score for the absolute free alongside with our other features, because this is the best self-improvement platform there is. Link will be down below, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.